In the world of elite alpine racing, we're talking about a sport where legends are made and broken by hundredths of a second. It's just brutal. And today, we're going to dive right into this incredible collision course, a returning icon versus a new generation that's completely rewriting the rulebook on speed.
So, this really is the question, isn't it? It's what everyone's wondering heading into the 2026 Olympics. Can a legend at 41 years old actually pull off one more miracle? Or is the clock finally running out? We're talking about raw experience going head-to-head with these new, almost robotic, hyper-efficient techniques. Is this the end of an era? Or are we about to see one last absolutely incredible chapter?
Okay, let's get into our first case study, which is just, wow, it's the return of Lindsey Vonn. And you can just feel the pressure, right? It's immense. Because what we're watching here isn't just another ski race. No way. This is a battle against time itself, against this wave of new talent, and honestly, against the very limits of what the human body can endure.
So let's just break down the raw numbers here, because they're pretty staggering. You've got a 41-year-old legend on a partial titanium knee, hurtling down a mountain at 96 kilometers an hour. This goes way beyond just willpower. It's pure physics. The real question is, can a body that's been through that much, literally held together with metal, still pull off the flawless precision you need at those insane speeds?
13 seconds. That's it. That's how long the fairy tale comeback lasted. Just think about that. All the hopes, all the training, a whole career's worth of dreams, and it all came unraveled in 13 seconds. It's just an impossibly short amount of time, but that's elite racing for you. Time is brutal, and it is absolutely unforgiving.
So what on earth happened in those 13 seconds? Well, Vonn hit what the pros call a technical dead zone. And look, this isn't just some tricky turn. You have to imagine it's a patch of the course that's so icy, so treacherous, that your connection to the mountain just evaporates. It's where the slightest mistake, the tiniest miscalculation, completely shatters that perfect rhythm you need to win.
And here's the anatomy of how it all went wrong, step by step. First off, and this is just insane, she was competing only 9 days after tearing her ACL. 9 days. But then she hits that dead zone, she hooks a gate, and boom. In a split second, that green winning time flashes to a DNF, did not finish. The result? A fractured left leg. It's such a brutal reminder that the mountain, well, it doesn't care who you are or what you've done.
Which brings us to a really tough question, and I want you to think about this. If you were in her ski boots, would you have even started that race? Knowing the risk, knowing your knee was that fragile? Was it an incredible act of courage, or was it a gamble that was just doomed from the start? These are the moments that define a legacy, right?
Okay, so a high-speed crash is obviously a dramatic way to fail. But sometimes the new era doesn't arrive with a big bang. It just creeps in. It arrives as a whisper, a tiny fraction of a second that changes absolutely everything. And to understand that, we have to talk about Mikaela Shiffrin. I mean, come on, she's the GOAT. The greatest of all time, no debate. We're talking 1-8 victories. She's a giant of the sport. Her whole career has been built on this idea of technical perfection, which is exactly why what happened next was so unbelievable.
0.06 seconds. 6/100ths of a second. That's how close she was to the podium. It's literally less than the time it takes you to blink. For an athlete like her in an event she's supposed to own, that tiny margin feels like a giant canyon. It just goes to show you, even for the absolute best, nothing is ever guaranteed. So why? Why did she lose that tiny bit of time? Well, it all comes down to this. The goal is what you see on the left, carving. Think of it like a sharp knife cutting through butter. It's clean, efficient, no wasted energy. But the problem was the snow. It was soft and slushy, and it caused her skis to drift, like you see on the right. That little skid creates friction, and friction is the enemy of speed. A tiny flaw, all because of the conditions, and poof, the medal will gone. So this all leads to a really fascinating question. If the old guard, the ones who relied on raw power and legacy, are starting to stumble, then what does the new blueprint for winning actually look like? It seems it's not about being stronger anymore. It's about being smarter and a whole lot more efficient. And this is the shift, right here. The old guard, you could say they were all about fighting the mountain. It was signature aggression, raw power, just trying to dominate the course. But the new guard, they're all about flowing with the mountain. They are completely obsessed with aerodynamic efficiency and being in this absolutely compact tuck.
It's all about eliminating drag every single second.
One perfect example? Look no further than Franjo von Allmen. This 24-year-old is basically a diamond in the rough, and he's totally redefining what's possible. Get this. While flying 40 meters through the air, he keeps his hands tucked behind his knees the whole time. Why? To get rid of every last molecule of drag. This isn't just skiing anymore, folks. It's like high-speed engineering on a frozen mountain.
And this gives us a super simple mental model, a reality check you can use for pretty much anything. Are you green or are you red? Think about it. Green means you're running a clean line, like a knife. It's pure efficiency and speed. But red? Red means you're spraying snow everywhere. You're creating friction, you're losing time, you're wasting energy. It's such a powerful way to spot where you're being inefficient. Right, so this whole idea of spotting inefficiency isn't just for world-class skiers, not at all. We can take these exact same principles and apply them to our own lives. So let's do it. Let's talk about how you can run a little performance audit on yourself using this elite mindset. Okay, here it is. Your 3-step elite performance audit straight from the slopes. Number 1, terrain reconnaissance. Just like Shiffrin had to deal with that slushy snow, you have to ask yourself, am I trying to force an old method onto a new situation? Is my strategy right for the environment I'm in right now? Number 2, the compactness test. This one's inspired by von Allmen. Where are you creating unnecessary drag in your work or your projects? Where can you trim the fat and get more streamlined? And finally, number 3, the 0.06 pivot. What's your backup plan? When things go wrong and you lose your main advantage, what's your move to adapt and still get across the finish line?
And that last point, the pivot, it's so important. Because let's be real, you're not always going to win. And learning how to handle that thankless 4th place, that heartbreaking near miss, that's often way more important than knowing how to celebrate a victory. For a masterclass in this, look at Marco Odermatt. He was the heavy favorite for multiple gold medals.
So after a crushing 4th place finish in the downhill, he could have fallen apart, but he didn't. His mindset was just perfect. His quote says it all. Analyze and tick it off. That's it. He looked at the data, figured out where he went wrong, learned the lesson, and then he let it go, moved on. He recalibrated, and what happened? He won a medal in his very next race. Now that is what elite resilience looks like.
So where does this all leave us? Well, it seems like the era of the single, unbeatable machine might just be over, right? From Vonn's crash to Shiffrin losing by a blink of an eye, a famous name doesn't guarantee you a spot on the podium anymore. It seems like victory now belongs to whoever is the most adaptable, the most efficient, and the most resilient on that given day. Which leaves us with one final question. Doesn't that make the whole sport a lot more interesting?